Good Wednesday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. I do want to mention that we have an interesting morning in terms of some fog. Some of you may be dealing with some patches of fog. I'm looking to the north in places like Middlesboro, down to a mile, 3 miles in Jacksboro. It's not that bad at McGee-Tyson, showing 10 miles visibility, so it may not be as bad as it's been in days prior to today. Of course, today is Wednesday, the 4th of October. One thing to note, because of the fog and low clouds, we can get a little bit of a ground clutter around the radar. The Ultimate Doppler Radar presented by A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling. They are awesome in case you are in need of some heating and cooling repair or even some maintenance, because they have a great monthly maintenance plan. They will come to your house once before winter, once before summer, to give you peace of mind. They do a thorough checkup. They are who I recommend. A1 Fincham, started by James Fincham, in fact I should say in 1982, family owned and operated. Of course, that's a classic here in Knoxville because of the World's Fair, but A1Fincham.com, you can always call them at 865-947-4267. One of the cool things as we look at this radar, we will be getting some rain later this week. I know we're in desperate need of it. It may not cure all that ails us. In fact, it definitely will not cure all that ails us in terms of the dry weather. But as I mentioned, A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling can be a great resource. I don't know if you have a carbon monoxide detector, but one of the things I was most impressed when I sat down with the folks at A1 Fincham is if you do have a carbon monoxide alarm and it perhaps does some chirping. Do you know what I'm talking about? When it actually chirps, you hear beep, but they'll come out and check it out. Now, if it's sounding a big alarm, that might be a 911 call. But if you have some concerns about carbon monoxide, this is how thorough and conscientious they are. They are focused on customer satisfaction, and they won't quit until you're happy. But, of course, the carbon monoxide is always important, a detector, that is, and the smoke detectors, of course, they can beep too, usually a sign that the battery needs switching. But the monthly maintenance plan, I'll talk more about that coming up, but it's a great deal because not only do you get 2 visits, but you can pay on it over the course of the 12-month calendar. By the way, the radar doesn't show anything in the state of Tennessee. You say, are you sure your radar is working? Because I don't see any rain. Well, there's some in Missouri. There's some wet weather in East Texas, maybe trying to work its way into Arkansas. But you're right, nothing within striking distance, which is why the 30-day moisture deficit continues to grow. We're trying to dig out of a hole of 2 to 3 inches in many areas in orange. Orange is usually our favorite color when we talk about the Tennessee Volunteers. But in terms of this map, the legend, anything that's orange is about 2 or 3 inches of dryness that we're going to have a hard time getting out of. So we're certainly dry. We have seen our drought, abnormally dry conditions grow across East Tennessee as of the last drought monitor, which came out Thursday. We'll get another report from them tomorrow morning around 8:30. So we'll be keeping you up to date, as well as my premium members on that. But as far as the average rainfall, October is typically the driest. It's nothing to be too alarmed about. If it's dry in October, that's when it's great for pumpkin patches and corn mazes. But 2.81 is typical for this time of year. That's based on a 30-year normal of 1991 to 2020. And last month, we had a paltry 0.42 in black there in September. Again, average is 3.5 for September. So we've come off the 5th driest, tied for the 5th driest September on record. And now we're starting October on a dry note. But the good news is we're going to get some rain. On Friday, it's probably going to be less than 1/10, maybe up to 1/4 inch. 0.10 to 0.25 is probably about all I expect to find during that course of time. And we go back to the maps because I want to get you out the door here at 6:43. Here are the temperatures. How cool is it where you are? Most of us are in the 50s. Some of us are in the 60s. Looking at Knoxville, McGee-Tyson at 61. It is nice and cool in Crossville, Cumberland County at 53, and 57 in Morristown and Sevierville and Pigeon Forge this morning. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you. I'm on YouTube. I see Steve Stone. He says good morning. He's got his heart there. I love it. Steve, glad you're here. I'm doing a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live at the same time. How do I multitask? I do not know. But it is nice to have the technology working in that favor. Now, as far as Facebook, a couple of notes from Fred. He says, good morning, David. Hallie Gibson, good to see her. Hallie was one of my premium members that came out to Kingston when I did my spotlight there. As many of you know, I was in Sneedville this past Monday, and I had a chance to meet Morgan Wallen's Mamaw. You didn't see that picture? Oh, I got to go through your timeline. Yeah, if you're a country music fan, I just say Morgan Wallen, and I have your attention. If I said I had met the mammal of Morgan Wallen, I had some great stories. I'll do more of that tomorrow, I think, more on Sneedville. But anyway, this is a great town. If you haven't been up there, it's beautiful, gorgeous on these sun-filled days. Esther Atkins says, good morning, David. She's got 55 degrees in Washburn. Glad to see you, Esther. And I mentioned Fred's on the call as well. So if you are in need of heating concerns, remember how it got really cold last December? It was like all the way to single digits. You don't want to worry about your heater. You don't want to worry about your heating apparatus. You want to make sure it's cared for and preventive, because we spend, let's face it, more time fixing our cars with oil changes, tune-ups, and all the rest. A lot of folks don't even pay much attention to the heating and air conditioning in their homes. So this is why A1 Fincham is who I recommend, and they've been around since 1982. Temperatures 59, Oak Ridge 57 in Morristown. It is 60 in Newport. They are warmer in Memphis, no surprise. They had about a 7 or 8, going on 9, about 9 90-degree days in a row in Memphis. You can have that. That's going to stay out west, but those red arrows continue. Now, it is Wednesday. This is the day I like to focus on fall color. Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, let's just savor that picture for a second. The sun coming up, the fall leaves, oh, that's breathtaking. Oh, maybe I'm just going to sit on the park bench today and watch the leaves fall. If you have that time, sure, it's a pretty sight. No doubt, but as we go to transition into the fall color update, not only that's right now, but what we can expect to see by this time next week. So I'm going to give you a forecast in terms of fall color. But it's just beautiful. If you're near the Smokies, you hear the running water, maybe you see the rolling hills and the greenery that's all around it. It's just a beautiful picture, got to tell you what. So anyway, just want to say happy fall to you as we continue on this theme. So let's take a look. Fall color this week has reached a peak in many areas out west, from Seattle to Denver to Salt Lake City, or at least outside of the big cities, Rockies specifically. But peak color is actually hitting a fever pitch in parts of the higher terrain of California, into Nevada, and into areas into Idaho and Montana. We're also seeing a lot of fall color now in parts of the Great Lakes, Wisconsin. If you're traveling or have family in northern Minnesota, have them send you a picture. Because it's just breathtaking, I would imagine, at this time. New England has come to life. Some of those dark red areas have reached peak color or high color in parts of upstate New York, near the Adirondacks, New Hampshire, Vermont, and of course Maine, who will be getting ready to be hit, sadly, by a tropical storm. Could that have some impact on leaves in Maine? Yeah. I think a tropical storm would definitely have an impact on leaves in the state of Maine by this weekend and beyond. I'll talk about that here with our tropical update. But this is the fall color now, as estimated by our friends at Evan Fisher, Explore Fall. This is just, again, giving you a low color outlook, little color in green, but some more color between, say, Morgan and Fentress County, and certainly the Smokies are coming to life. Many areas east of the Tri-Cities are also showing low to maybe moderate color at this time, and they're getting closer. Now, next week, some of the areas in the Rockies will be past peak. So the darkest burgundy color here would suggest past peak. And some areas in the Rockies will have already reached their favorite time of year. I mean, it's time to rake. That'll be the time, all the way up to the Pacific Northwest. Also, some areas around Wisconsin will be past peak this time next week. So, what is it? Seize the day, carpe diem? I'd say seize the leaves. It's carpe folia. That's an Aldrichism. Anyway, it's Captain Accuratism. But we've got the fall color that's going to be reaching a lot more color in New York State by next week at this time and through the New England states. As we round out my little fall color update, let's come back maybe toward home. In fact, how did I miss that? Maybe because I pushed the button too fast. But here's what I expect it to be for us tomorrow by next week. So let's come on back. Down here, there it is. You can see there's probably got a lot more color in almost the horseshoe effect, right? We know that to be the horseshoe effect around the valley. There'll be much more color this time next week. So that's just something to throw out there. Maybe you have some fall color pictures you'd like to share. I always welcome to see them on the David Aldrich Weather Group. So hopefully you'll have a chance to share that with me this fall, if not this week, certainly by next week and beyond. Wind speeds not moving much. 0 to 5 is what I expect most of the day today. I see one exception at the moment is Wartburg, but most of us are going to be 0 to 5 in terms of winds today. Here's my expectation. 87 in Knoxville, 86 for a high in Oak Ridge and Maryville, Alcoa. If you hit 86 in Newport, would not surprise me, but I do not expect to get out of the low 80s for Crossville and Cumberland County. That includes Grimsley and all the way up toward Jamestown, about 81 today, 86 for Tellico Plains and Athens. Back on the call, I'm going to say hi to you. Michael Norman says, good morning, last day of work for 2 weeks. What? You're getting off of work? Is that legal? I guess it is for Michael. Michael works hard. 12-hour shifts. Wow, ready for a fall break. I think so, Michael. It's well-deserved. Enjoy your time off, my friend. Marilyn Bell says she can't wait for the Unicoi Apple Festival in Irwin, Tennessee on Saturday. So if you're in Irwin area, you got to take Marilyn up on that. She knows all about this Apple Festival. She was telling me about that when I met her in Sneedville. She was one of my premium members that came up there. The fall colors, she says, will be beautiful in upper East Tennessee. Wonderful. And Wanda Poe says, is it going to get cold enough to get plants in? I think it might not hurt, given the fact it'll be cold enough to see your breath virtually everywhere in East Tennessee by Sunday night and into, say, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning. It's going to be in the low 40s in Knoxville, but there'll be some upper 30s and very cold in the Smokies, no doubt. But just something to think about as we will be getting that transition to cool air heading into this weekend. Now, as far as a sunrise, sunset, it's 6:50. Almost said 8. It's 6:50. The sun rises this morning at 7:33. Say, boo, that's too late. I like it brighter sooner. It's just, we're moving away from summer. It's just the way it goes. We're in fall officially and have now for days. 7:16 is when the sun will be going down this evening, so make your plans accordingly. Tracking the clouds, there aren't too many of them. We saw a little bit of fog reports there in Middlesboro and Jacksboro and La Follette, maybe mainly north, but it could be anywhere. So be mindful of that with low beams for fog. Tracking the clouds, there's some that are trying to move in. So we'll find, I think, more scattered clouds this afternoon. Think of it as hazy sun and clouds for the balance of your Wednesday. Here's the bus stop forecast. As you drop the kids off in the 50s, low 60s, you'll be picking them up between the 2 and 3:30 time frame in the mid-80s. 84 at 2, but I suspect the high of Knoxville about 87. So 87, the finishing point, pick up around 2 o'clock, around 84. So it's another dry day ahead and another dry day tomorrow. Tomorrow morning is going to be dry in the afternoon, but we'll get some rain in on Friday. Again, 0.10 to 0.25. It's about my sweet spot, is about how much rain we can expect. And this will continue not just Friday. No. It'll carry into Friday night. So if you got Friday night plans, I'm thinking high school football, you may want to carry at least something to keep it dry. If not an umbrella, maybe a rain jacket, because rain chances will be arriving late this week, and it will feel every bit of fall this weekend. If you felt like these 80s are for the birds, I've read your comments. Some of you say, it's 80s, this has got to stop. Like I have any control over. I'm just the messenger. You know, I'm just the messenger. But I can tell you that it will feel like fall, every sense of the word, by this weekend. By the way, this weather report brought to you by A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling. I love these tips. Some of you have never even thought about some of these tips, but maybe they ought to be considered. Changing your filters monthly makes a lot of sense, especially if you want your equipment to run smoothly. Number 2 is check for drafts in your home and seal them. That makes a lot of sense if you want to save some money this winter. But consider more insulation, because the older homes typically need more. Number 4 is clear the area that's around the condenser unit. That's not hard to do. Sometimes you have to mow or work around those condenser units, but also use a programmable thermostat. This can save you a lot of money. Just adjust 4 to 7 degrees down in winter and up in summer. And you also want to schedule regular maintenance checks, which is why I recommend A1 Fincham's monthly maintenance plan. Again, thank you, A1 Fincham, for these cool tips, because a lot of folks don't always think about that. How can I make the most of my heating and air conditioning units? Tracking the tropics. Did you know we have a tropical storm that's likely to hit Maine? Oh, yes, sadly. His name is Philippe. He's that big bright red spot in the lower center of this map, and he's going to work its way from these islands. Look at that jagged path he's taken. It's like up and down, but he's going to work its way north. Now, Tropical Storm Philippe has winds of 45 miles per hour now. This is his track. There's Friday, and there's Saturday morning at 2 a.m. Doesn't look like it's a problem yet, Aldrich. No, not yet, but get it to the end of the weekend, and you can see it's going up toward Maine, maybe just to the east of Halifax. So Nova Scotia, didn't they just get hit with Lee? Yeah, they're going to get hit by another one, it looks like. And the winds on this are slated to be 60 miles per hour, but the intensity of the Hurricane Center tends to be pretty conservative. Maybe it's 65, maybe it's 70. We'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye on this. This is something to watch, Tropical Storm Philippe. Again, the latest track from the Hurricane Center has this at 60 when it makes landfall in the wee hours of Sunday morning this weekend. So mainly west of Halifax, but eastern Maine may get hit with the brunt of the dirty side of this storm. We'll be watching this closely for our friends, and that could also take down a lot of leaves. The beautiful fall color that some of you know associate with LL Bean up in the upstate of Maine. You might say, hey, all the trees, the leaves have been shaken. The trees have been shaken, and it doesn't look as pretty. By the way, the Philippe is the only game in town on the Atlantic side. There's likely to be a form of Max. There's a storm that might form in the 70 percentile there. Over the next 7 days, Hurricane Center's watching that, and a new one of 10%. So there's a couple more active storms potentially in the Pacific. Now we have Sean, Tammy, and Vince on the on-deck circle, but Philippe has outlived Rena, so that's why Philippe is still the active storm we're talking about. Right now it's 61 degrees. It is 6:55. My goal is to be done in 5 minutes. I believe I can do it. Northeast winds currently at 3 miles per hour. Precipitation chances, woohoo, Friday, 40%. We could also say 40% for Friday night, but I do think once the sun comes up on Saturday, dry. It's going to be dry. In fact, it doesn't even look like it'll be hanging out in the Smokies by sunrise. Might still mean the Smokies at 4 a.m., but the way things are trending, showers will continue Friday night, which may have some impact on high school football. So keeping an eye on that for you as well. Here's the Valley Planner. Now, the average high now has dropped because of the shortening of days. Just the average is 76. And if we hit 87 today, we'll be 11 degrees above normal. I was expecting 87 yesterday, and we hit, what did we hit? Oh, we hit 86. So it was 86 degrees Oak Ridge and Knoxville yesterday, it turns out. Oak Ridge hit 86. So that's the way it goes. So a hot day relative to the season with some early fog. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I hope you'll do so. It's free, youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. It's one of my fastest growing platforms. I love the fact that anyone who's on it likes to be there. I love to see it. Scott says it's about time. He loves the cool air. And Lana Johnson says, good morning. A little fog on the river in Kodak. Looking forward to some cool air. Back on YouTube, as it turns out. Let me go back on this side. Where am I here? There I am. Oh, I see Steve Stone. He's on here. So if you want to leave me a comment, and it appears that I do have a few more people watching each and every day. I do watch that, and some people watch it on delay, but I got 5 people. That doesn't sound like much, but as that grows throughout the day, I see 1,900 subscribers now continue to grow on YouTube as I'm trying to expand my reach. Storm Prediction Center, if we have some severe storms today, the yellow areas would be of concern because it represents scattered severe storms, and you can see that's really centered in parts of Texas and Oklahoma. We'll zoom in a little bit tighter. That includes Dallas, if you have family there. It includes Fort Worth, Abilene, Lubbock, and Midland, and Oklahoma City. So they could get some scattered severe storms today. Some areas in green that include Waco might be isolated severe storms, but nothing going on here as if advertised, just nothing going on here. And then the severe weather threat drops off to nothing tomorrow because Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago could get general thunderstorms. It moves into Memphis. But by the time we hit Thursday, we're going to be the light shade of green. Thursday to Friday, I mean. Friday is when we change our pattern. We're going to bring in some rain. So this is the Friday outlook. Nothing severe, knock on wood, but everything could include a few thunderstorms, and that could produce some locally heavy rain in spots. I don't think it will be a big deal. I think 1/10 of an inch to as much as a quarter is pretty reasonable to expect, and not much more than that. Futurecast shows as we move through 6:58, the rain chances towards, say, St. Louis, Springfield, Missouri. Looks pretty quiet until maybe into the afternoon, evening tonight, makes it its way into western Kentucky. But even that, it's still hard to get here. Tomorrow morning looks like this, and this looks very promising. You see all that rain in Little Rock, Memphis? You say, that's coming here. Let's clap for rain, but it's moving where? Into some drier air. Oh, no, yeah, drier air. That's not always easy, right? So once we get the rain, what's left of it, it starts to dry up. A little bit of shower activity comes in like so, and it may come in with another spoke of energy by Friday night as the front itself crosses the valley. Once it's gone, we'll see goodbye. Hello, rain. It's Knoxville rain at 11 o'clock at night Friday, which is why high school football may have some raindrops to dodge. We head into Saturday, it's pretty much pulling away pretty quickly. So the Futurecast, how warm can we get to midday? About 78. About 78 La Follette, 76 Crossville at midday today. 4 o'clock, that 86, 87, that's where I expect to be today. There's the 87, and I don't expect any rain to occur here, even though some false echoes look like they appear. We will find a partly to mostly cloudy sky tonight. The clouds are not absent, so stars might be in and out. But as we head into Thursday, more hazy sun, if not partly cloudy, and I think we'll get the rain showers in, if not very late Thursday night, more likely Friday, as I think this system, at least to start, has slowed down. 87 for today. Hazy sun, scattered clouds. It's warm, light and variable winds, and it's now 6:59. Let's get to this forecast. 83 today in Oneida, Wartburg. 86 for Kingston, Rockwood, and, say, Harriman. 86 for Maryville, Alcoa. 86 for Madisonville, Tellico Plains, Dandridge, 86. Newport, 86. Parrotsville, and 85 for Morristown and Alpha, as well as Russellville. 87 for Chattanooga. 86 if you're traveling west toward Jackson, Tennessee, and they will not be in the 90s today in Memphis. They're only at 85. Only 85. 61 tonight. Modified the low into the low 60s, so it's not as cool. I had 60 before, but I did move it to 61 with light and variable winds tonight. 60 for Maryville. Very likely to be in the upper 50s for Newport, Cocke County, there in, say, Del Rio and Cosby. 57 for Morristown, 58 for Middlesboro, and 58 for Crossville in the heart of Cumberland County. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. 87 today, 83 on Thursday. You notice there's a cooling trend. Oh, is there? Oh, no. You know, once it's 45 or less, we start to see our breath. And I'm looking at Saturday night, 41. Looking at Sunday night, 42. If you're up or if you sleep through it, then you miss out. If you're a fan of the cool air, you owe it to yourself to get out of bed early on Sunday morning, and certainly Monday morning, as we'll all be feeling it, perhaps getting off to work or school next week. But at least it's nice and pleasant. Monday afternoon, I'm at 70, and I got us at 76 there on Tuesday of next week. By the way, if I haven't mentioned it to you, I love the fact A1 Fincham, their phone number, 865-947-4267. If you want to participate in their monthly maintenance plan, tell them Captain Accurate sent you. They'll come out, do a thorough checkup on your heating system before winter and again before summer for air conditioning. They do a fantastic job. They are family owned and operated since 1982. A1Fincham.com. In fact, I have their webpage. This is what their webpage looks like. So if you're on that page, you know you're on the right spot. But A1 Fincham, they are awesome, and we'll recommend them very, very highly. I want to come back to see you in the comments. Steve Stone is on YouTube. Back to Facebook. How many other comments we might have? Lana says hello. Fred says, my home state is getting more rain. Yeah, I'm afraid your state of Maine, Fred, will be the recipient of Tropical Storm Philippe. Probably a pretty strong tropical storm at that. We'll keep an eye on that. And Wanda Post says, I like your pictures of your trip you had on Monday. Thank you, Wanda. These pictures of Sneedville are awesome and in the spirit of transparency. I've been here 13 years. I had never been to Hancock County. I've been to virtually every county. I've been to Claiborne County. I've done spotlights in almost every county in our what we call our DMA, our designated market area. But I had not been to Hancock County, and I was so blown away of how beautiful it was. I mean, it's beautiful. And when we talk about the beauty of East Tennessee, every town has its own unique feel. Every town has a story. So anyway, Sneedville, number 38. I've done now 38 of these since last October. That's hard for me to believe. I have to pinch myself. I know there's 52 weeks in a year, but I was doing them about one a week, and then of course took some time off for parts of summer, took some time off this fall, and I even took like Labor Day off. But I'm preparing now for my winter weather outlook. That's my next focal point. But I would encourage you to check out my Sneedville pictures. I do have a picture of Mamaw, of Morgan Wallen, Morgan Wallen's grandmother, who does get calls from her grandson on occasion. I have some other stories I'll share with you tomorrow, if time permits. I do want to do that. But anyway, if you like these pictures, make sure you share them with your friends and family, because a lot of folks say, I've never been to fill in the blank. I've never been to Maynardville, or I haven't been to Kodak as frequently. Everybody feels like they've been to Kodak. But there's probably some places on here that you haven't been. Maybe you haven't been to White Pine. Maybe you haven't been to Crab Orchard. Crab Orchard's awesome, too. So much unique flavor about East Tennessee. Just wanted to recognize many of the towns. And this is all being driven by my premium members. They support me. They give me the money to do the gasoline and get to these places, so I couldn't do it without them. Go to CaptainAccurate.com. You can get more information. As I mentioned, I'm working on my snow forecast. If you want to be the first to see it, you may be the only ones who see it. My premium members, well, last year, I only did a winter weather outlook for them. Would love to have you join us on the premium side, because, again, this winter will vastly be different than last winter. That's my suspicion. Anyway, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. Make sure you check out A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling at 865-947-4267. They do have, I should say, they do have an awesome plan that discounts for seniors and veterans. Hopefully it got your attention there. If you're a senior or veteran, you can get discounts on the actual monthly maintenance plan. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.